And we know plants have a consciousness because
Yeah.
all the research they've done, if you put two plants together and you pull a leaf off one of them, the other one gets stressed. They all
Yeah.
have a consciousness.
And
They
if
all
you
have an
don't love
awareness.
it, what happens to the
It
plant?
dies. It
But
dies,
if you
right?
give it lots of love,
It thrives.
it thrives. And, that's with everything, every
But
part of
houses are the
our,
same.
our body as well. So, like,
Everything. Everything.
my sword toe, I've been giving it so much love, like loving it up so much rather than being annoyed with it,
Totally.
just
Totally.
giving it love. And it is
Exactly.
healing really, really well.
Yeah.
So
That's
everything is
exactly right.
alive. Everything is
Everything.
alive.
Everything's alive. And I think if you almost in a way imagine that is alive, like the house is a person, the toe's a person, the animal's a person, and how would you treat that person? Well, you'd talk to it and you'd nurture it and you'd love it. And I find my experience with houses is that at some point in time the house will kick you out.
Yeah.
That sometimes happens. The house goes, right, you've learned everything you need to learn here, it's time to go, someone else needs to be here, and it starts to kick you out. Our last house did that.
Welcome to Galactic Guidance, the show that channels the wisdom of beings from higher realms. Join us as we tap into the cosmic consciousness and receive messages of clear guidance to help us navigate our spiritual evolution on planet Earth. So sit back, relax, and let's connect into the higher frequency. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Galactic Guidance. And in this week's episode, once again, our channel, Marcus Bird, will be bringing forward Ameed, a high dimensional being, and we're going to be answering a very relevant question for our times, which is all about where we're currently situated in terms of the activity of light workers, which I'm going to expand on as soon as Marcus connects in. So
I will do that. Welcome, everybody. Great to have you here.
awesome.
Let's do that.
Awesome. Okay.
All right.
So what happens now is that Marcus puts himself in a state where he connects into his spirit guide, Ameed, who is a high dimensional being, and connecting to episode 1 to see how this all happened with Marcus a couple of decades ago. And I'll just wait for Ameed to come through.
There's much of the joyousness that we are being in this togetherness, in this of the momentness, much of the joyness, much of excitement when we get of the opportunity to be here in this of the presence, much of the joy.
Oh, so good to welcome you in, Ameed, once again. I love feeling your energy and having a conversation with you. The question that I wanted to ask you this week is, it feels very much for me, and I'm feeling not just for me, but for many, many other people across the planet, particularly light workers who are here to help with the expansion of consciousness. It feels like we're on the bench. It feels like it's in between time and we want to get called in, but we just have to be patient. Could you confirm whether this is in fact what it's like, or can you give some more explanation as to what's going on in terms of the activity of light workers, what we're expected to do right now, and how it's going to play out?
Much of the goodness of the questions that you be asking, because we are often of the witnessing of the peoples are very much sitting in on the waiting of space, because you are not connecting into the truth of what you can be and need to be in the process of the doing space. You'll be thinking that you are sitting on the sidelines, but this is only from a three-dimensional aspect of reality, because you see that the action that you are of the doing needs to be much of the physical action, like you are playing on the field. Therefore, you are feeling that you are being sitting on the side, just watching the game being of the unfolding. But this is not of the reality. We have talked about in of the pastness, the consciousness technology that we wish to be of the sharing. And this is much of the activity that you can be of the involvedness in, so that you are not sitting on of the sidelines. You are being an active participant in what you are sensing of the game that is playing out. What you must understand is that one aspect of the game is a three-dimensional consciousness aspect, where things are much of the appearing to be of the physical nature. This consciousness has you wanting to be actually physically of the plane, going out and being of the speaking in the groups of the people, to be helping one-on-the-one individuals in the transition process, maybe running of the events, and this is an aspect that you can be involved in, and you can be of the doingness, but some of you are not being on the call to be of the doingness. What you are being called into is into a higher dimensional reality of existence, a more expanded version of the reality that is playing out. In this space, you are here to learn the aspect and to learn to be using of the consciousness technology to be of the influencing of the ever unfolding and of the ever expanding universal construct in this of your solar system. What you are finding is that there are many that are playing the game in this of the way. This might look like when you have one of the teams that are being of the winning all the time, and you are wondering, why are they so of the goodness, and why are they of the winningness all of the time? This is because they're not just using of the three-dimensional physicality action, but they are tapping into the conscious resonant field, the quantum of the fieldness, and influencing by using field dynamics and the consciousness of the technology. This way they can be much more influencing of the game, because what you are seeing is the game is not being played the way you think you are seeing of the game being played. You are seeing people moving around on the field, but this is not where the game is played. The game is played much more in the quantum field, in the energetic field, in the 0-point energy field. This is the universal game that is being of the playing out. And in this construct, you can be much of the activity, much of the activeness to be of the support to assist in the harmonizing of the harmonics of this construct that is of the playing out. What you must imagine is that above the field, surrounding the field, is an energetic construct. This energetic construct is actually what is influencing the field to be playing the way the field is to be playing. You can participate in much of the role to influence this field and this construct. And this is the work that we wish for you to be able to doing, is to be expanding your consciousness awareness, is to be interacting with the field in a moment-by-moment situation, and that you are understanding and starting to grow in the consciousness technology so that you can influence three-dimensional, four-dimensional of the environment. This is where what you might consider the power is. This is where the mastery starts to awaken within you, so that you are not just sitting of the idle hereby on the sidelines, that you are actually in a collective, connected, conscious, expansive journey. Because this is the truth of what you are being of the doing. You are in a connected, collected consciousness experience. This is not an individual of the game. You are just one of the pair of the eyes that are playing out this game of this one organism that is living in this construct. Therefore, if you are to be of the expansion nature, what you might consider the elevation nature, you can then be playing in this collective, connected consciousness game. This is the game that is of the playing. This is the energetic construct of the game that is being of the playing out.
So what I'm hearing you say is that although it appears that we are on the sidelines and we're sitting on the bench and we're not actually actively participating in the expansion of consciousness, that perspective really is a 3D perspective. And from a higher perspective, there is so much more to it. And it's all about expanding into the energetic consciousness and playing the game from a higher level. So as light workers, what can we do to expand in that way, from a higher perspective, from above the field?
This is much of what is being of the lessons for you at this moment. It is much more of the expanded awareness that you are needing to be of the connecting into. What you would understand is many of the what you be of the considering of the higher beings that have been of the existence here in this timescape. Have been teaching you and been sharing with you to be much of the mindfulness, to be much of the focusedness. They have been sharing much of the meditative process. What we're here to be able to sharing is the next process beyond this, which is the consciousness of the technology, where you become of the master creators. In this space, you will begin to realize the participation that you are having in this game, whether you are conscious and aware of it or of the notness. You are participating in this, whether you be of the liking or the not liking. You are the major of the player in this of the game. And this, what you call a sitting on the bench is you still playing in the game, but you are not contributing much to the game because you are not of the awareness of what part you are actually of the playing. When you are sitting on the sidelines, what you are playing is the agreement of the game. You are saying that, okay, the game is of just the playing out, and I agree with every aspect of the game. And even if your team is not of the winning, you are still agreeing for the game to be playing the way that the game is playing. And you are sitting in of the agreement state. What we wish for you to be doing is not sitting in of the agreement state, but be sitting in the participatory of the state and being of the influence of how the game is of the playing out, being and stepping into what we consider as the master creator state. Where you are sitting in a much more expanded level of the conscious awareness. So what you can be of the doing is that you can be of the connecting in at an individual of the level, connecting into the energetics and the frequency and the harmonics that is being of the surrounding you. We have talked of the resonant frequencies in the past, and this is what we wish for you to be tuning into on the individual of the level. Every moment connecting into the resonant field that moves within you and surrounds you. Then you can be in the process of connecting into the greater resonance of the field, and you can be being of the influencing of that resonant state. Therefore, you can be then materializing those things that you wish for to be manifested in your life, but also you can be influencing the greater game that is of the playing out. That is much of the solar game. And then you have of the universal game that is of the playing out. This game that is playing out here in this of the planetary construct is one of many games that are playing out across the universe. We are at the much of the biggest level. We are collectively assisting in the universe to expand its conscious awareness, and therefore the universe expanding on itself. And then as you come in down further, you are playing of these parts of the game. This of the Earth construct, this of the theme park that we have been of the talking about is just one component of a much of the bigger game. So in this moment, we understand that it is much of the difficult for you to be of the experiencing the much of the bigness, for you to be experiencing of the infinite nature of this of the universe. Therefore, we request that you go within and be focusing on the resonant field and connecting in with of this resonant field. You can be of the doing this in your meditative process. You can be doing this just by bringing of the awareness to this reality, knowing that everything that is surrounding you, everything that you are interacting with has a vibrational quality and a vibrational nature. And just because of this construct, it expresses a resonant field around it. We wish for you to be connected into this of the resonant field. Everything that you see in of the physicality, everything that you are being of the interacting with and experiencing within this of the theme park has a vibration resonant quality to it. Even those things that you feel might not be of the aliveness, like you experience of the walls and of the floor and of the ceilingness. These are all having a resonant field around it. This is why when you walk into of the building, you can feel of the niceness or you can feel of the yuckiness, because there's a resonance that is of the playing out, not just made up of the the species within that of the construct, but also because it is made up of these vibrations, of the resonance. These are frequencies. This is what we wish for you to be able to connecting in. Then you can learn how to influence how the game is of the being played. You can then move of the what you have the game called the chessness, the chess of the pieces. You can be of the moving around. But this is not like you think of a game and there is one of the players is going to be of the winner. This is not of winning in that of the nature. What you must understand is the winning is the collective movement of the universe that is of the expanding in a consciousness of the awareness. The winning is a collective experience, not just a one of the experience. And if you are, once you expand into this state, you will realize that you are beginning to of the expand past of the duality that you experience. And therefore you will no longer see that there is one team and another team, and we must be on one of the sides, not the other of the sides. And then we must be of the winning if we are going to be of the successfulness. This is not the construct. So as you begin to expand into this reality, you will lose of the construct of the game. The way you're thinking of the game is of the playing. You will once again reunite with much of the oneness, with much of the 0-point energy field, and you will begin to understand that the game is a collective game that we are playing, not against any one of the peoples, but to actually be in the pushing of the universe out, of the expansion of this construct of universal of the reality. Then you will once again be come back into the universal family of the lightness. You will once again be much more of the connectedness. You'll then again be much of the gifted of the technology and of the information and of the knowledge and of the wisdom. It will be much like you are opening up a gate, much of the bigness of the gate. And all of a sudden you will have the floodingness of the knowledge and of the wisdom and of all of the aspects that you wish to be able to experiencing. This is exactly what was happening when you look back at of the ancients, in the ancient of the Egyptian times. This is exactly what was of the happening before you had of the what you be of the considering of the fall, when your consciousness was once again of the constrained and began to be of the shrinkingness. You are now in a much of the exciting time here, and this is one of the reasons we are much of the pushingness for your channel to be of the expressing and allowing us to be of the coming through, because you are now much in the turning point where you are embracing of the consciousness technology once more. And what you are soaring of the ancient times, where many of you are sitting there of the scratching of the headness, wondering how these things are of the appearing, how did these much of the big constructs, how did of the pyramids be of the appearing? You will once again meet that of the technology. You will once again understand what was connected back in those times. This is the invitation. This is of the excitement. And therefore you will expand past of the gameness, and you will see an interconnected relationship to the oneness of this beauty, this amazingness of the universe that we are existing in.
Oh, beautiful. So what I'm hearing from you, Ameed, is that really what we're supposed to do now is be very mindful and in every now moment connecting to the resonant field. And as we continue to connect into the resonant field more and more and more, we become the master creator. So Ameed, is there anything else at all that you would like to share with myself and our audience?
You must be thinking of this as much of the grandness of the invitation. This is much of the specialness. This is much of the sacred invitation that we are wishing to be of the sharing with you. You must be of the remembering of just of the specialness of these experiences. This is one of the things when you are being of the sitting on the bench that you push of the downness, that you play awareness of, and then not stepping into and embracing just the sacred specialness of this, of the occasion. We wish for you to step forward and expand into the sacredness, into the what you might consider the bigness of this opportunity. Not so much of the opportunity, but of the invitation. We wish for you to once again be of the connected understanding and rejoin the universal family of the lightness. We wish for you to once again be fully of the connected. For when this is of the happening, we can much more of the visit you. We can much more of the share with you of the deeper of the technology. We can once again be of the revealing of the secrets that you are already aware of and that you already are being of the knowingness. You have all of the information embedded within you in the construct of the DNA. You have all of the codes. You have all of the universal information that you be of the requiring. Our role here is just to be of the helping you to be in the remembering space, to help you to be turning on these of the codes so you can step more fully into this reality. And we can once again be fully connected. And we can once again be of the meeting space in what you would consider in the reality space, not just in of the dream space, not just in of the imagination space, but we can be of the meeting in the actual of the physicality. This is what we are. This is what we be of the creating in the ancient of the times. And you be of the wondering, why did they know so much? This is because they were in the expanded connection of this reality that we're speaking of. This is the invitation that we are wishing for you to step and expand powerfully into, so that you can resonate and build the harmonic resonant field once again in this of the solar system, and once again harmonize this reality. This is what we are being of the wishing for. This is what we're here to be of the helping with. This is what is the love that we are being of the sharing.
Thank you, Ameed. That was lovely. Thank you.
Much joy, much of the loveness. Wow, that was, I don't know what that was about.
How are you feeling?
Okay, I'm okay. Just a bit emotional after that one.
Wow.
Yeah, sometimes that happens.
Yeah, it does.
Sometimes when it's really big, I tend to feel that way. So,
yeah.
don't know.
She kept on reinforcing really why they're here, why she's speaking through you, and why she's giving you these messages, because this is the time that we need to connect into the resonant field. And even if those of us who think that we're not participating in the game, and that we're just on the sidelines and then we're waiting to jump in, we actually are participating.
You can't not, I don't think, can you?
Yeah.
Just because we're here. We're part of that conscious thing that's going on. So we can't not participate.
No. But so our mission is, in order to get into that consciousness of expansiveness, is to connect into the resonant field. And, you know, I noticed last week, because I've been walking very slow with my toenail off my toe, walking really slow, like outside, just walking really slow. Everything has got a different perspective. Like I've been looking.
I think it's
like
almost ironic, right? Everyone, if you didn't know Eleni before we started doing this, she used to move so fast. Like she was going everywhere.
I used to run.
Yeah,
I used to run.
did. Constantly.
Even when I didn't need to run. I remember there was a conference in Las Vegas where I was running between presentations, and I really didn't need to run. I had time. And someone said, "What's wrong?" It was one of the event organizers, and I'm like, "Nothing. That's just what I do. I run." So it's like I used to be like that in the corporate office too.
Yeah,
I used to run.
You used to. Yeah, that's right.
And just walking really slowly this last week, like really slowly.
Yeah,
like the world is just different. Like totally the clouds are different. The sky is different.
Yeah.
Everything around you is different. You seem to be connecting in, like, you know, when they do that slow version in like the Matrix movie. You seem to,
everything slows down.
Everything slows down. And it's a different perspective, and it's quite beautiful. Totally. It's really sacred.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So, Marcus, exactly, what Ameed said was that what we need to do is connect into the resonant field every moment that we can. And Like, can
Totally.
you give any practical tips about that?
Totally. Yeah. I think the first tip is to remember, right? So remembering is the first thing. Oh, resonant field. Okay. Then I think it helps to slow down for sure, right? So, one exercise, I mean, there's lots of exercises you can do, right? You can meditate, of course, but I think it's better if we do it sort of in action. And that is just to imagine, everything is that, and that it has this frequency vibration or like a tune almost. Um, Sometimes people, on an exercise I used to get people to do to start this process, what I do to start this process is to do it with plants, for example, with a tree, where you just put your hands near the tree, not on it, but around it and feel. You can do it with yourself as well, that old exercise where you're feeling. That's a way to start that feeling piece, or even just sitting with a plant or a tree, or you can do it with a wall or something that doesn't look like it's alive, right? But it sometimes helps, for the, restricted consciousness to look at something that's alive, right? And just feel into the resonance. You can sit meditating with your eyes open next to a plant, for example, a pot plant, and just feel into it and start to let your eyes sort of move past the plant and just see the resonant field around it. Then you can talk to the plant. You can tap into the plant. You can ask the plant how it's feeling. Does it need anything? You can actually have this sort of communication with it. And then do that with inanimate objects, right? A wall, for example, a piece of wood, because it's all alive from a expanded sort of consciousness point of view, because it vibrates, it has a resonant field. And part of consciousness technology is to realize consciousness isn't just a human experience of awareness, right? So we're measuring consciousness incorrectly. We think consciousness is that I am aware, I can interact, I think things, I imagine things, I can move my hands at will and make things. We think that's consciousness. So therefore, anything that can't do that, even animals, right? We look at them and go, oh, well, they're obviously not very conscious because they're stuck in the ocean, or they're animals here and there. And really, that's not necessarily the case, right? And various animals are at different sort of expansive levels, but they're conscious. And then if you continue that and you think about consciousness as a resonant field, then everything has consciousness.
Totally. And you know
Right?
what? It doesn't
Everything.
even have to be in front of you, because
No, it
I was
doesn't.
I send love to my home in
Yep.
Melbourne,
Yep.
and I was asking it, the other week what it needed, because I'm not there,
Yeah.
and it told me that it felt very stuffy,
Yeah.
and it needed the windows open. It felt like it couldn't breathe. So I
Yeah.
contacted one
Cool.
of my team members and said, "Can you please open the windows? The house is very is
I
suffocating."
love it. But that's true.
And
You
and
don't
they
have to
did.
be there for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it helps when you're learning this all, but you don't have to be there. And it does have a consciousness. If we think about it as an expanded version of what the definition of consciousness is. And of course, in our 3D type world, we have very finite definitions of things, right? Very contained definitions. But I think if we imagine the universe as a whole, as a consciousness, right? That the universe is just consciousness, or a version of, consciousness, then everything has a type of consciousness, right? And another way to explain that is it's the resonance. Everything has a resonance. And sometimes that's an easier way to understand it, because if we think about atoms and molecules and all those sort of things, and they're doing their thing, and then if we go to superstring theory and everything vibrates, then everything is alive. Everything has to be alive, right? And moving and having a resonant field. And it's that resonant field that is like a consciousness field. It's another
Yeah.
way of sort of saying consciousness field.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we
Everything.
know plants have a consciousness, because
Yeah.
all the research they've done, if you put two plants together and you pull a leaf off one of them, the other one gets stressed. They all
Yeah.
have a consciousness.
And
They
if
all
you
have an
don't love
awareness.
it, what happens to the
It
plant?
dies. It
But
dies,
if you
right?
give it lots of love,
It
it
thrives.
it thrives. And that's with everything, every
But
part of
houses are the
our,
same.
our body as well. So like,
Everything.
my
Everything.
my sword toe, I've been giving it so much love, like loving it up so much, rather than being annoyed with it.
Totally.
just
Totally.
giving it love, and it is
Exactly.
healing really, really well.
Yeah.
So
That's
everything is
exactly right.
alive. Everything is alive.
Everything's alive. And I think if you almost in a way imagine that is alive, like the house is a person, the toe's a person, the animal's a person, and how would you treat that person? Well, you'd talk to it and you'd nurture it and you'd love it. And, I find my experience with houses is that at some point in time, the house will kick you out.
Yeah.
That sometimes happens. The house goes, right, you've learned everything you need to learn here. It's time to go. Someone else needs to be here. And it starts to kick you out. Our last house did that. Literally kicked us out. Like, we actually got expelled from the house for almost a year while they repaired things.
Yeah.
And after that, we went, right, obviously the house doesn't want us. And this happened
I
a couple of
resonate.
times, right? And it's like, okay, well, hello, your house was the same. It was like, Eleni, it's done. It's time.
Done. It wants you to leave. And then when you give love to something, like even my local gym, they've got new management and they've moved around some machines. They haven't done any advertising yet or anything. And all of a sudden, the gym is full again. And I said to them, what have you done? Have you actually advertised? And they said, no, nothing. So it's just because this new love has come in, this new energy has come in, and all of a sudden it's gone from an empty gym to a full gym.
It's funny, isn't it, how that happens, right?
Yeah.
And this is, again, like the game. That's how you influence the game. You don't influence the game necessarily with practical action steps like we think we should, although they help, right? But just doing it with the resonant field, and we can influence it 10 times more.
Beautiful.
So anyway.
I love it. So getting the practice of doing that, right? Getting the practice
totally.
of connecting into the resonant field, put your hands up when you meditate. I do that and you can feel the energy on the hands.
Absolutely.
So
you sure can.
Connect in and imagine everything having a face, like Marcus said, like your toe's got a face, the house has got a face,
body,
everything's
alive.
got a face. Yeah. The tree,
do
the
that.
plant, and give it love.
Totally. Perfect. Yay.
Thank you, Marcus.
Thank
you
you
for bringing in Ameed as well.
My pleasure. Thanks for the invitation.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Galactic Guidance. We hope that the messages that you receive from the higher realms have brought you clarity, insight, and comfort. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Remember to stay connected to your own inner guidance and trust the journey ahead.